So thank you so much Ji, for joining me in this podcast called Brain and You.
Yeah,
This is
thank you for inviting.
Yeah, this is very, very special for me. I speak to so many parents, especially from the West, and invariably I hear the name RPM Soma. So it gives me a lot of pleasure. And I tell them that I'm speaking to her soon. And I had a very, very good session with Tito. He's such a mature person. And I think you've played a very, very big role there to make him what he is today. You have such a huge contribution, not only in his life, but in thousands and lakhs of children who are indebted to you today and those parents also.
Oh, well, I get a lot of things back in return because when I work with an individual, I learn a lot. So I'm still learning as I'm working. So learning never stops.
Yeah. I will ask a few questions which will take you back a couple of years because this is a podcast that a lot of women, especially from India, a lot of mothers from India will be watching and they look up to you. And I think there's a lot that they can learn from you, at least from the initial phase of your life. So, how long ago was it that you first got to know that Tito has autism?
Well, I got to know from the doctor. I never heard about autism. I
Yeah,
never knew uh, anyone with any, because long ago disability was a kind of a, you didn't see them on the surface.
yeah,
So even
yeah,
if I went to school, I never saw around. But today you see everything is on
yeah,
the surface as
yeah,
numbers are increasing. And
yeah,
so when the doctor told me in India, I said, okay, so what am I supposed to do?
yeah.
So you don't have much to do. So said, okay, the whole life would be around therapy, sort of. So you see, like at that time, at that moment, you have no option. When you have to jump, you jump.
Yeah, yeah,
You don't you don't even look where you are jumping. You know that you can't just be standing over there.
yeah.
So wherever you land, and sort of I made the right kind of decisions around my teaching and moving Tito around the way which would suit him, and then it worked. And because it
How,
worked,
yeah. How
and
was it
because
in the beginning? So the moment you got to know, you're right. I don't remember myself knowing anything about autism about till about maybe 5 years ago. So many decades ago, it would have been a new term. It would have been very tough to hear something that something's some there is some concern about my son. How was your reaction?
yeah, at that moment, you don't sit over there and waste time in emotions. I like, I feel that emotional investment takes away a lot of your
Mm,
rational thoughts, and then
mm,
it sort of blurs many things out. So there was no time for emotions. I
okay.
knew that growing up, and I have to
Mm,
make tomorrow a little better than today.
mm,
And
mm,
start making teaching him how to make choices.
mm,
So I started giving him choices. Okay, you are climbing the stairs. Are you climbing up or are you climbing down? And so this is up and this is down. And then he touched up, and then I realized that okay, he has some vocabulary. It's
yeah,
not just
yeah.
okay, now we have to go from there. And then I had to teach him some kind of a thing like, see, you makes that a sound and P makes that per sound. So through phonics, that way
Mm,
you don't have to
mm,
learn the side words through phonics,
mm.
and the per you can also spell.
How
So
old was he when you started doing
the
vocabulary
choice,
with him or phonics with him?
but the choices I started doing when he was 3.5.
Okay.
So I made it. So at that time, I wasn't looking at the spelling. I was just doing the choices. You are now having your dinner, or are you having your lunch? Just two
Okay.
choices.
Okay.
And that way I kept that kind of a language matrix.
And you were in India that time?
Oh yeah, I was in India.
How tough was it? How tough was it? Did you have enough support system? Because I remember in one of your interviews you said that you were a master's in chemistry
Oh yeah, yeah.
and
Yeah. At that time, all those whatever you learned seemed to be not practical, because at that
mm,
time I have to relearn certain things.
Hmm.
So chemistry wouldn't be in my radar. I had to sort of look at my radial distance from Tito, and if Tito's life improved, my life would improve. And the choices helped a lot. I'm not even talking about the spelling days and other things.
Hmm.
Spelling and other things came as a kind of an
Hmm.
evolved from there. Right.
Hmm.
So it was easy. Okay, now you're crying. Is it somewhere? It is it hurting, or do you think you just can't stop crying? Because see,
Hmm.
stop cry is also a kind of a motor skill.
Hmm.
So you have to make an effort to stop crying, because once, so then he would say, I can't stop crying. Do you need help?
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
So I would give him a glass of water. And that's how you, with this kind of a practical thing, even with choices, you can take a lot, do a lot.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then came the spelling, and then gradually it came to education and other kinds of things, like all the subjects and other things, so that his mind, otherwise, mind is a terrible thing to waste. You don't want to
Yeah.
waste mind
Yeah.
just because you are waiting for speech to happen, because
Okay.
language area, the Broca and the Wernicke area, are in the left side of the brain, and the speech producing area is in the right side. Now, if the message is not passing through the corpus callosum that divides the left side and the right side, then speech is not going to happen. So if you just sit over there and wait for speech, it's not worth your time. You might want to do this. Okay, now,
Okay,
meanwhile,
tell me one thing, Somaji. I
yes,
mean, this is many, many years ago, and I still meet parents who, when they hear the diagnosis that your child is on the spectrum, they go in denial, they go in anger. Husband and wife would fight, they will start blaming themselves, they will blame each other. And then comes the process of let's fix him, let's fix speech. And then the couple of years are gone into fixing speech. How I'm not able to understand that. How could you? What made you so strong and forward looking? And how could you just stand up and say, let me work on a solution for Tito? How did you
well,
do that?
I sort of got distance from family and everywhere, because, like, luckily, Dr. Pratibha Karanth from Mysore, All India Institute of Speech and Hearing, she invited us, and we stayed over there for 3 months, and then we got to stay over there because we liked their program, and there was a place for Tito to go and interact, because people and the students over there did not see Tito as a kind of a different person. So we would spend a lot of time there, and just be in that circumstance, a situation over in within the campus. And I would read to him when he did not have his therapies, and
Yeah,
uh, and I just talked to him as a normal person,
yeah,
because uh, I felt that, if I talk to him as a normal person, he will live in dignity. Dignity
yeah,
is more important.
yeah,
So, not that you are socially less than others, you are
yeah,
socially beyond others.
yeah,
That living in dignity is the most important thing. And so, talking in age appropriate things, reading to him
yeah,
all
yeah,
what I got hold of. He loved poetry. I read to him poetry. He
yeah,
tried compose poetry. I said, okay, let's compose. And then the poetry and other things, they became more and more sophisticated.
yeah,
And it just went on. And then from Mysore, we moved to Bangalore. And then he went to the Spastic Society of Karnataka, which was also a big help, because
yes,
there we saw parents and students having a different kind of challenge.
okay,
And then you see that, in this kind of a spectrum of challenge, everyone is doing their best.
yes,
And it's not that my disability is more than your disability. Disability is there. And then what is society for? What are we parents for? To help them
yeah,
live with dignity.
dignity,
That's
yeah,
most important. And what will give you the dignity? If you have education.
yeah,
So
okay,
education will give you the dignity, and because you can say that, okay, I may have autism, or I may have this kind of a disability, but I can
mm,
think like you.
yeah, yeah.
That's the thing.
How was your interaction with the society? So right now you said I distanced myself from family because maybe they were not the right mindset of people to help Tito grow. But you are living in a society. You went to Mysore, went to Bangalore. How how was it? I mean, even today, I know it is tough for parents. How
Yeah.
would I want that advice from you that parents watching this know that how do you take your child and get them accepted by the society, or what is that? What is that trick? What do you do?
So, so one thing I did was I tried not to interact with people who I knew had doubts, because I'm not sitting over here and wasting my time to convince someone.
Yeah,
So if I believe in something,
yeah,
and then someone else has the right to believe what he believes.
yeah,
But then
yeah,
I don't have to interact over here because I'll say yes, and then the other person will say
yeah,
no. That will become a waste of energy, waste of emotional
yeah,
energy, because
yeah,
you don't want to be emotionally worn out. You want to use your energy in a kind of a constructive way to see the next steps, to see the next
yeah,
steps. Because when you are looking, it's like looking which side you are looking. If you're looking at a project that I'm going to work on the next step, I'm going to work on the next step, then you see the other landscape, other things become a kind of a faded
correct,
out landscape.
correct.
And I'm not general
Hmm,
manager of the
hmm,
autism or general manager of
hmm,
the society to sit over
hmm.
there and prove something. So,
Yeah, get it.
and way, even today, I sort of focus on what's my next step, what's my
Yeah,
next step.
yeah,
So as a human being, so here's the thing, as a human being, how am I going to grow with my work?
yeah,
And as a person with autism that I'm spending time with, how am I going to help this person grow?
yeah,
So that is my only focus. And then
yeah.
the rest, society and other things, it sort of becomes goes in the backdrop.
Immaterial. I get it. Yeah, that's a very strong thought. What is that one best decision that you think when you look in the past that you took for Tito and for yourself?
Well, I don't know. Like you see, there are a decision is just not a kind of an arrowhead. You see, you have decisions of lots of things, changing cities,
Yeah,
living somewhere else, living in a kind of a
yeah,
smaller place. And
yeah.
you see, in Bangalore, when I lived in Bangalore, I didn't have any running water. I had to go to the municipal tap to fill water. But I was strong. I could carry
Mm,
buckets upstairs, and Tito would
mm,
go with. So
mm,
every bit of struggle that I saw, I didn't see it as a struggle. I saw it as a kind of an adventure that this landscape of life is showing me. And that was good because I was not alone
mm.
filling the buckets of water and
Yeah,
taking stairs, because that's not how I grew up. I grew up
yeah,
in a better circumstance, but I saw the others. And then I learned that, okay, if they can do, I can do it too.
yeah,
And then when came to the United States, then life was easy because I have seen that life.
yeah,
So I have seen this life also. So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
now if I have to go back to that life again,
yeah.
I'll live it because I have lived it. I have experienced it.
Okay, okay. I was
That's
about to
it.
ask you that because you qualified, you did your master's in chemistry, you may be working at that time, or you may be thinking of a career at that time, and then life had a different plan.
Oh
I
yeah.
was about to ask you that how was it financially? Do you think this journey for a mother, because it is either a mother working or the mother with the child, there's a tough choice you have to make there. And I personally feel mother with the child is the best therapist. How was it?
Yeah, yeah, here's the thing. I am a fatalist.
Mm,
I believe in fate,
mm,
and I believe that fate leads those who are willing, but drags
mm,
who are not willing. So it's much better to be led by fate and see
mm,
what beautiful things fate
mm,
can.
mm.
See, many times people say, no, I take fate in my, like I make my fate. No, 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 that's egoistic. Like you don't make your fate, because there would be those challenges, and every challenge you sort of, you have to live it. And
Mm,
then you cross one barrier of the challenge, and some other challenge will show up, and then in
mm,
some other challenge will show up, and then that's what experience of life is. We are all over here for the time being,
yeah,
experiencing life. life. So Tito, I have experience with Tito as playing the role of his mother for the time being. And then after that, for the time being, he is experiencing a life with autism. So this, once you finish this experience, then you move on to the next experience.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure many parents come to you, Somaji, even before you start their session around communication, around the spell board. You have to do a lot of counseling for the parents.
No,
What mindset are they in, or no?
no,
Okay.
no. I sort of work the moment the student comes. I start working with them. Like the parents observe, they ask me questions, and I look at it as a kind of a in a very machinic way, like my role, the student's role. Let me see whether all the objectives are
Okay.
followed, and then the next student comes. So but the time for interaction is not much.
Okay. Do you come across parents who are in a state of self-pity, denial, anger, and they're just there with their child because somebody told them to do this, but they haven't yet come to the point of accepting the child and working on the child?
Well,
So,
if they have to go through that experience of self-pity or denial, they have to experience it. If someone experiences it, because my telling, please don't be sad, you can't unsad a
mm,
person. Like when people say that's the dumbest thing to say, please don't be sad. If you have to
mm,
experience that sorrow, if you have to experience that self-pity, you just have to go through it. See, as
mm,
like they said that if you're going through hell, keep going. You can't
mm,
go around it.
mm, yeah. So you mentioned that you started doing choices with Tito when he was around 3.5 years old. When did
Yeah.
this whole spelling structure come around it? How did that journey happen?
There was it was not one fine day you are going to spell. So
Yeah.
it was like now you're climbing up the stairs. See the sir sound. S begins a sir sound. Let's find the sir sound. See, so I would make this kind of a rolled up thing so
Uh,
that it's easier for him to touch, and
mm,
he felt successful. And then after that, showing the field of two, then showing the field of three, until
mm,
he got good with his all these movements, because we
mm,
have to look at it as touching an accurate kind of a letter requires the help support of all the joints. You have the ball and
mm.
socket, you have the hinge joint, you have the wrist joint, ball
Rest.
and socket, and then you have the knuckles, and then you have the fingers. So first we work on this elbow. So that's why I'm giving this two choices: sir
Mm,
sound, and that
mm,
way adds his visual stamina to look at the letters and find the letters.
mm,
His performance stamina to find the letters and not get distracted and complete the spelling. Those things, they sort of grew together. So it was not just one step and then after another step. It's a kind of a slope kind of a thing, merging. Some days when his performance stamina was less, I did not push him. So that there was no, like, it just sort of everything merged together in a kind of a diffused way, and
mm.
moved him along.
Okay. How many years did it take you to finally realize that you have built something? This is something that you have created, and not only Tito, but many others can benefit from this.
So it happened like this when I came to the United States, because the Cure Autism Now Foundation, the neuroscientists, they invited Tito because they wanted, he had learned how to use the mouse on a computer. So some of their tests, the Cure Autism Now Foundation in University of San Francisco, California, San Francisco. So under Dr. Mercenich, he had to go through some tests. And then we had to return to India, but then September 11th happened, and
Okay.
my trip back to India was postponed. And so the families asked me while I was waiting for my trip back to India to work with their children. And then I said, okay, I'll put the same formula. I never worked with anyone before. In India, no one
Okay.
asked me. Okay.
Okay.
So I worked with their children and it worked with the choices, then with this, and then so I got this fellowship for 1 year to work with like seven non-speaking autistic people and two speaking autistic people. So in a kind of a school setup, I got this fellowship, and once it worked, Then one of the TV the channels over here. Nowadays, people don't watch TVs, but it was a big hit. Everyone watched. It was called 60 Minutes. They aired my work. And
Okay.
then suddenly I got plethora of job offers.
Hmm.
And so my
Hmm.
return to India never
Never
happened.
happened. That's fate, huh?
I'm telling you, like you submit to fate, and fate will do
Hmm.
wonderful things.
Hmm.
Now, when you get stressed out, oh my God, I need to fight fate. No, I am the creator of the, and yeah, go get stressed. Fate is going to do its own thing anyway.
Hmm.
So, and then I got these job offers, and then I picked up the job at Halo, and
Hmm.
they were based in Texas, and I lived in California. Then I moved to Texas, and because it was easier to operate, and then I'm
Yeah.
working here since then. And after that, I got my H-1B1 visa, from traveler's visa to getting the green card to getting a citizenship. So it just happened one after the
Yeah.
other.
How long has it been now in the US?
Oh, well, I came in 2001,
Yeah.
so quite a
Hmm.
bit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then I travel, like last week I was till Monday, not last week, till Monday I was in Atlanta. I travel, and then next week I'm going to New York and then to DC, because I have children scattered all over.
Hmm.
I go to Australia. So it's so I my pro like many of the I have created so much of jobs, so many jobs.
Yeah. Yeah. You have.
That's
Yes.
the thing.
Yeah.
But I like to keep my organization small, because many times people say, why don't you grow Halo? I don't want to grow Halo because I like uh, to keep it small for the quality. Because
Hmm.
if I become administrative and others, I'll lose my edge.
Hmm.
And at this opportunity of life, because life is an opportunity, at this opportunity of life, uh, as more and more you complete your experience working with others, because that's what I think I was meant to do. Like, you suddenly realize, because I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
So in this opportunity of life, I have to keep my quality, and not like think about growth and power.
True.
So
Yeah.
so I'm in a good place now.
Yeah. Absolutely. So tell me more about RPM, Somaji. You have those cards next to you. I want parents to, if you can, in like 5 minutes, explain what it is, how can they use it, and if it's possible for them to learn it online.
Oh yeah, my trainings are all online. I'm going to do an India training. Many people have signed up. So Bindu is orchestrating the training. Okay, now RPM is a method to empower the student, a means to express learning, because the teacher is going to teach. So suppose the teacher teaches, today we are going to look at why the sky looks blue. If you go to Mars, sky is not blue. If you go to Moon, sky is not blue. See, so the teacher is going to teach. So express the learning, understanding, because I can learn Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, but I'll understand Twinkle Twinkle Little Star better if I knew that it was written by Jane Taylor in the year 1806. So then I'll understand that Jane Taylor did not have all these iPhones and iPads to stare at. She looked out and saw the
Hmm.
stars. That was, and she made a relationship with stars. So that is understanding. Reasoning, because in order to learn, like, I want French fries. Why do you want French fries? So then I have to reason
Hmm.
that I like French fries because I
Hmm.
like the taste, or
Hmm.
I'm hungry. So there can be any reason, or I'm
Hmm.
bored. See,
Hmm.
so there can be so many reasons. Then I have to pick. So reasoning. So reasoning based on your education. Like, for example, why do you think Alexander wanted to conquer so
Hmm.
much?
Hmm.
So that is a different kind of reasoning. And reasoning based on self. That's another reasoning,
Hmm.
right? So reasoning and thoughts, because communication is important. So what would you like for your birthday?
Hmm.
Okay, so I would like this. Okay, you like this, but would you be able to like I want a guitar, but would you be able to learn guitar, which is going to be boring? Then the parent and the student can have a conversation. So RPM is sort of assembling all these things by finding out the open learning channel of the student at that instant.
Okay.
Now, open learning channels are important because we have the primary learning channels, the vision and auditory. Because if you look at any textbook, the textbook would have pictures like this is the ancient book by the Chinese written on bamboo, visual and auditory, because someone is explaining. Right. So primary learning channels are vision and auditory, and secondary learning channels are tactile and kinesthetic. Kinesthetic is movement. Okay, now, if you classify an autistic person, you see that there are three types of vision. You'll have generalized vision. So you see an awesome lecture by Temple Grandin. And then you look at your child and you see that their visions are not the same. So she has a typical vision, and this is a visual world, so she can navigate the environment better than someone who has visual, selective vision or global vision.
Yeah.
Then you have auditory, you have generalized auditory, like your, I can, like every thought is an auditory thought. So many times people say, I'm going to live in a quiet place. Yeah, go and live in a quiet place and see, your head is going to talk to you anyway. So, that's the thing. Like, I need quiet. Okay, I need quiet doing what? Your head is talking. And what will the head talk? All kinds of rubbish inputs over there. Your head is going to talk. So, the moment we wake up, the moment we say, I need to make some tea, that's auditory. So, you see that generalized auditory students are more attentive auditorily to auditory information that the teacher is giving. Selective auditory, where the students listening is getting interrupted with, I want this, I want the swimming pool, after this I want to go there. So continuously interrupting, that is selective auditory, where the student is struggling to listen. And then you have the global auditory, where the teachers, where the student is sort of tired. Like sometimes when we were in college, the teacher's voice would be one quack, 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 quack sound. That's global auditory. Right. Now, generalized tactile students would be able to sit at a chair and work. But a student who is not generalized tactile is going to be jumpy, would want to, would try to find a kind of a place where he would be comfortable, is always restless, can't sit. So you have selective auditory. Okay, I can sit on my bed or I can sit in the car seat, but I can't sit at a chair and work. So that would be, so I can hold a string, but the moment you give me the pen, I'm going to drop it. That is selective auditory, a selective tactile. And then you have the global tactile, where whatever, I'm not making any kind of a tactile determination what I want to touch. So I'm going to just touch the wall, I'm going to touch someone's hair, I'm going to mouth. So that is global tactile. Now, kinesthetic also works in the same way. A generalized kinesthetic person would have more control over the motor skills. Because I know how to write. Selective kinesthetic, I can write my name, I can write this, I can push this button to make that game happen, but I can't do everything. And then you have the global kinesthetic, where my movements are so random. So when you are assembling all these different things, then something happens. So someone can say, okay, my child can write, but when I'm giving him to write, or when I'm giving him to type, he's typing any random thing. So that means the kinesthetic skill and the auditory skill, they are not matching. So that's where, so as in RPM, we like consider these learning channels, and based on these learning channels, we teach. That's why it is not like one size fits all.
Okay.
So the success of an RPM session would be based on how well the teacher identified these learning channels. So
Okay.
a person can be generalized visual, but global auditory, global tactile,
Yeah.
generalized aesthetic, and the others. So if you permute and combine them, one autistic person would be so different from another autistic person. So all these things are assembled to make RPM.
Got it. Is a parent qualified enough to become an RPM certified trainer for their own children?
Oh, yes. And then they can work once you
Yeah.
become certified. So the process of certification would be like you attend the 4-day training, and then you go through submitting a video with a lesson plan, the way we like did in the training. And then there would be a kind of a oral review where I'll be asking some
Got it.
review questions. And then once you qualify for that, you are a level 1 practitioner. And once you're a level 1 practitioner, you can start your website, you can start your either working with your child, or you can work with others also, multiple
Nice.
children on that.
Okay.
And every 2 years, and you are going to be listed in my website, which is www.halo-soma.org. In my website, you'll be listed as a level 1 practitioner. And then if you have to do level 2, long ago I would do level 2, but nowadays I'm giving this to my level 4 practitioners to do, so that they can have opportunity to grow.
Mm.
And they are going to take care of the level 2 and level
Okay.
3, 4, those kinds of things, and so on.
How
Level
long
4
is the process? How long is the process to go from level 1 to level 4 and learn everything?
it's not about time. It's about this
Okay.
is qualitative. This is about
Okay.
qualitative. If you are sometimes some level 1s are so good.
Mm.
I've seen many level 1s are better than level 2s and level 3s.
Okay. What is the difference between level 1, 2, 3, 4?
It's based on it's like it's not about the talent or those kinds of things. See, now I live in a kind of a society where you need a kind of a gradation.
Mm.
So
Okay.
like you can be a level 1 practitioner and you can still have 20 students. You can be a level 3 practitioner and still have 20 students. It doesn't matter. It's more like a kind of a qualitative kind of a thing.
Okay.
And some people like to have all those level 1, 2, 3,
Okay.
4 names in there.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
uh,
So can a parent be a level 1, Somaji, and make her
yeah.
child capable enough to communicate?
Oh, yes, yes,
Okay.
you
Okay.
can. You can, because
Okay.
all you have to do is start with the 2 choices and go through the process, because now you can't rush. Because the moment I have seen people rushing into the letterboard, then they end up supporting the student.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And once
Hmm.
you support the student, you don't know the authorship from where it came.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Right.
Okay.
So the
Hmm.
student, so here we are talking about a student who can eat, would be able to independently, is able to
Hmm.
type independently.
Hmm. 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 Got it. Okay. So, I think I mentioned to you last time um, that Iyurved, my company, is working on setting up a brain center in Bangalore. And what I saw in India is that there are tons and tons of very good therapists, but I think empowering the parent in the end would be the most powerful weapon for them to enable their children. So that's why I asked you this question, if it's possible for Ayurved to host some kind of a training of RPM here. Maybe parents can come, they can learn, they can become level 1 practitioners, and then they can start impacting the lives of their children and also other children in their towns and cities, because lots of people stay in really tiny towns and there is nothing available there. So for us also, it is about empowering those at the last mile. And this sounds very, very interesting to me.
Yes. It all depends, because it begins with one and then someone tells. That's how RPM grew. Like in
Yeah,
2004, like of course I got
yeah,
this kind of idea from and that's why people got to know about it.
yes,
But uh, but that is how things grow. Now
yeah.
there are traditional therapies out over there. I'm not saying they are not right, but some therapies did not revise themselves up. So
Hmm.
whatever they did in 1992, they're
I
still doing today.
agree. I
But today
agree.
we know more about the brain and how the brain works.
Yeah.
We know about the perceptual differences. The way I'm perceiving a pen is not the same as the way an autistic person is
Yeah.
perceiving the brain. So this kind of a perceptual, you can say, diversity today we have because we know more about the brain. So
Yeah.
long ago, people would say, pick up the blue object. Okay, pick up the blue object. Okay, now pick up the blue object. No one is explaining why I'm picking up the blue object because they think that autistic minds are not capable of understanding. But
Hmm.
today things are changing up.
Hmm.
And so here we have to explain, look, what we are teaching is your eye-hand coordination. Now this is how I'm going to help you pick up the blue object. See,
Yeah.
look at the distance. Because the way I'm perceiving the distance between myself and the blue
Hmm.
object,
Hmm.
an autistic person is perceiving
Does
it,
not.
is
Yeah.
different.
Yeah. 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 I get it. I wanted to touch on the last thing here. You just mentioned that um, therapies have evolved. We understand so much more about the brain. I still want to tell you that I come across examples every day when I speak to parents in India. And I don't know about the West, but in India, a couple of examples that come to me are when they live in a society, like in an apartment complex, and they will see, let's say, a severe case of autism, an autistic child, probably some sensory overload, some meltdown in public, and they will say, he's mental, he's pagal. How I do you have any advice on for parents who may be believing that my child is dumb and not exposing the child to anything new because they're waiting for some speech to work, because for them speech is a sign of intelligence.
So this is the thing. I actually don't give advices because if a parent has to go through that kind of a trauma
Hmm,
for oneself, he
hmm,
has to go through it. He or she has to go through it. Because if a parent believes in that, like my telling or not telling is not going to change it.
hmm,
So that's why, see, so many ideas are there in the world.
hmm,
And then at the end of the day, how many people follow those ideas? So
hmm.
that's why, so the way I experienced it may be very different from what a parent is meant to experience. As I said, I'm a
Okay,
fatalist.
okay. So when you were told that Tito has autism, did you at all believe that it is a sign of being dumb? Or did you know that how did you figure that out?
Well, I knew that he was not selectively doing this because he knew the ways to different places. Once he pulled me
Hmm,
1.5 miles to see a kind of a fish tank, which one of the shops they had the fish tank.
hmm,
So
hmm, hmm,
he walked and he found the way. So he was selectively learning. So it was
hmm.
I never
Okay,
even doubted for a while that he was,
okay,
but I knew he was selectively learning because he was programming his brain. Now, for me, that was a sign that I had to do. Like from that selective
got
learning,
it.
I had to him learn 1 + 1 is 2.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, this has been very useful for me so much. If there is anything you can show to the parents in terms of the board that you have next to you, then yeah,
Oh
they'll
yeah,
be
see
happy to.
first. Yeah, see, first we do a board like this, and then after that, yeah, I have all different designs like that and all different colors, just to freshen up like that. One side is numbers, where children learn numbers. So on Saturday, I'm going to have a math workshop, how to teach math.
Okay,
So
okay,
with some parents have signed up. I do these kinds of little workshops, but I don't think that would be a good in India time. uh, yeah, some people sign up from this Singapore also. But anyway,
yeah,
so
yeah.
it is.
But we can plan. We can plan on one of the days when you're free for parents in India. We can plan ahead. And you mentioned that you will be coming to India sometime.
I'll go to India for I don't know whether people would sign up or not because see I live in an expensive country and so my sessions are expensive. What to do? Like but the thing is that I don't know how many people are going to sign up for that.
Okay. No, I'm sure. Let me tell you that the parents I speak to, even in India, some of them, like you say, some of them who live in the metropolitans, they know about RPM. And while it is not very popular, I like it's word of mouth. It takes its own time, but it will very soon catch up. And I once heard you in a video say that I don't care if it's proven, not proven. All I know is it has worked for my son. If you want it, you try it. If it works for you, good for you. And I believe in
That's
that.
yeah, that's the thing. There are so many things to
Yeah.
shop around, and then
Yeah.
you pick up this what is right for you. Now,
Yeah.
the parent feels that something else is right for them. They are free to do that because you
Absolutely.
can't impose a kind of a belief or a doctrine on anyone else.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the thing.
True. Okay, this has been very, very lovely for me. Thank you so
Thank,
much. And even
thank.
if you are in India soon, I would really would want to meet you.
Oh yeah, thank you so much. So I'll let you go.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
bye.